Vulnerability is a profound and multifaceted concept that touches upon the core of human existence. It can be described as the willingness to expose oneself to emotional, physical, or social risks in the pursuit of authenticity, connection, and growth. At its essence, vulnerability is about being open and honest, allowing oneself to be seen as they truly are without pretense or armor. While this openness may appear to be a weakness on the surface, it is, in fact, one of the greatest indicators of strength and courage. To be vulnerable is to accept and embrace the reality of our imperfections, uncertainties, and fears. It is an acknowledgement that no one is invincible or without flaws, and that striving for a facade of perfection only creates barriers to genuine relationships and personal fulfillment. Vulnerability invites us to step into discomfort, to face the unknown, and to engage with life and others in a meaningful way. This openness fosters an environment of trust where mutual understanding and empathy can flourish. In relationships, vulnerability is the cornerstone of intimacy and connection. Whether in friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional settings, the act of being vulnerable allows others to see our authentic selves. It encourages reciprocity, inviting others to lower their own defenses and share their truths. This mutual exchange builds stronger bonds and deepens the quality of interactions. Without vulnerability, relationships remain superficial, limited by the masks we wear to protect ourselves from judgment or rejection. Contrary to common misconceptions, vulnerability is not about oversharing or exposing oneself recklessly. It involves a thoughtful process of discernment, where one chooses to reveal personal truths in safe and supportive environments. It requires a level of trust, both in oneself and in others, and a willingness to navigate potential risks. The fear of vulnerability often stems from the possibility of being hurt, rejected, or judged. However, these fears, while valid, are outweighed by the profound rewards of authentic connection and self-discovery. In professional settings, vulnerability is increasingly recognized as a vital quality in effective leadership. Leaders who demonstrate vulnerability by admitting their mistakes, expressing uncertainty, or seeking input from their teams foster cultures of trust and innovation. They show that it is acceptable to be human, to learn from failures, and to grow collaboratively. Vulnerability in leadership encourages open communication, where individuals feel safe to voice their ideas, concerns, and creativity without fear of reprisal. Vulnerability is a pathway to resilience and growth. It is through moments of vulnerability that we confront our deepest fears and insecurities, pushing the boundaries of our comfort zones. These experiences, though challenging, often lead to profound self-awareness and a greater understanding of our strengths and limitations. Vulnerability teaches us to embrace our humanity, to find beauty in imperfection, and to approach life with greater compassion and courage. In sum, vulnerability is not a liability, but a powerful asset. It is a transformative force that allows us to live more authentic lives, build meaningful connections, and grow in ways we never thought possible. To embrace vulnerability is to embrace life in its fullest, with all its uncertainties and possibilities. Vulnerability is often misunderstood, and these misconceptions can prevent people from embracing it as a vital aspect of personal growth and connection. Many individuals associate vulnerability with weakness, exposure to harm, or a lack of control, which can lead them to avoid situations where they might feel emotionally exposed. These misunderstandings are deeply ingrained in societal norms, where strength and independence are often emphasized, leaving little room for the acknowledgement of our more tender, human experiences. One of the most pervasive misconceptions about vulnerability is the belief that it signifies weakness. People often fear that showing vulnerability makes them appear fragile or incapable, particularly in environments that value toughness or self-reliance. This perspective fails to recognize that vulnerability requires immense courage. Opening oneself to the possibility of rejection, judgment, or failure takes a kind of bravery that surpasses the facade of invulnerability. Far from being a weakness, vulnerability is a sign of emotional strength and resilience. Another common misunderstanding is the assumption that vulnerability means sharing everything about oneself indiscriminately. Some people fear that being vulnerable equates to oversharing personal details with anyone and everyone, leaving them exposed to potential ridicule or exploitation. Vulnerability is not about being unguarded or reckless. It is about choosing when and with whom to share personal truths in a way that fosters trust and connection. Discernment plays a key role in determining the appropriate context for vulnerability, ensuring that it leads to meaningful interactions rather than discomfort. Many also view vulnerability as a loss of control. To be vulnerable often means stepping into the unknown, where outcomes cannot be guaranteed. This uncertainty can be unsettling for those who equate control with safety. However, life itself is inherently unpredictable, and avoiding vulnerability in an attempt to maintain control only creates barriers to authentic experiences. Embracing vulnerability does not mean relinquishing all control. Instead, it is about acknowledging uncertainty while still choosing to engage wholeheartedly with the world. There is also the misconception that vulnerability is unnecessary or even counterproductive, particularly in professional or leadership settings. Some people believe that admitting mistakes, expressing emotions, or seeking help undermines authority or credibility. On the contrary, vulnerability in leadership fosters trust, collaboration, and innovation. Leaders who are honest about their challenges and limitations create environments where others feel safe to do the same, paving the way for greater teamwork and problem solving. Cultural norms further perpetuate the idea that vulnerability is not for everyone. Men, for example, are often socialized to suppress vulnerability, associating it with a lack of masculinity. Similarly, women may fear being judged as overly emotional or weak when expressing vulnerability. These societal expectations create additional barriers, reinforcing the stigma surrounding open emotional expression. Some people mistakenly believe that vulnerability leads only to pain or rejection. While being vulnerable does involve risk, it also opens the door to profound connection, growth, and understanding. It is through vulnerability that individuals form deep, meaningful relationships and gain the courage to confront their fears. Vulnerability is not a flaw, but a fundamental human quality. Dispelling these misconceptions allows us to see it for what it truly is, a powerful tool for authenticity, connection, and strength. The strength in being vulnerable is a paradox that challenges conventional views of power and resilience. Vulnerability, often perceived as a sign of weakness, is in fact one of the most profound indicators of courage, authenticity, and emotional fortitude. Embracing vulnerability allows individuals to face their fears, connect with others on a deeper level, and navigate life's challenges with a sense of openness and resilience. Vulnerability involves the willingness to show up and be seen, even when there are no guarantees of success or acceptance. This act of exposing oneself to potential criticism, failure, or rejection is not an easy feat. It requires immense bravery. It takes strength to acknowledge one's limitations, fears, and uncertainties in a world that often values perfection and self-reliance. By daring to be vulnerable, individuals demonstrate a level of emotional courage that is often underestimated but crucial for personal growth and meaningful connections. One of the greatest strengths of vulnerability is its ability to foster genuine relationships. When people allow themselves to be vulnerable, they create opportunities for others to see their true selves, beyond facades and social masks. This openness invites reciprocity, encouraging others to share their own truths and insecurities. The result is a foundation of trust and authenticity that strengthens bonds and enhances the quality of interactions. Vulnerability, therefore, acts as a bridge that connects individuals on a human level, fostering empathy and understanding. In leadership and teamwork, vulnerability plays a critical role in building trust and collaboration. Leaders who openly admit their mistakes, acknowledge their uncertainties, or seek input from their teams set an example of humility and authenticity. This approach creates a culture of openness where team members feel safe to voice their opinions, take risks, and innovate. Rather than diminishing authority, vulnerability enhances a leader's credibility by showing that they are approachable and human. This strength transforms workplaces into environments where creativity and cooperation thrive. On a personal level, vulnerability is a powerful catalyst for growth. By facing moments of discomfort and uncertainty, individuals expand their comfort zones and develop resilience. Whether it's expressing a difficult emotion, taking a risk on an untested idea, or sharing a deeply personal story, these acts of vulnerability push individuals towards self-discovery and empowerment. Through vulnerability, people learn to embrace their imperfections, seeing them not as flaws, but as unique aspects of their humanity. Vulnerability also strengthens emotional resilience. When individuals confront and embrace their vulnerabilities, they develop a deeper understanding of their emotions and learn to process them constructively. This emotional awareness helps them navigate challenges more effectively, fostering a sense of inner strength that equips them to handle life's ups and downs. Acknowledging vulnerability allows people to seek help and support when needed, further reinforcing their ability to overcome adversity. In a broader sense, vulnerability is essential for authenticity. It allows individuals to live in alignment with their true selves, free from the burden of pretense or the fear of judgment. This authenticity brings a sense of freedom and fulfillment, empowering people to pursue their goals and relationships with clarity and purpose. The strength in being vulnerable lies in its transformative power. It enables personal growth, fosters authentic connections, builds trust, and cultivates resilience. Far from being a weakness, vulnerability is a profound expression of strength and courage that enriches every aspect of life. Vulnerability in leadership is a powerful yet often overlooked trait that can significantly enhance a leader's ability to connect with others, build trust, and foster a culture of collaboration and innovation. While traditional notions of leadership often emphasize authority, decisiveness, and confidence, modern leadership recognizes that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a hallmark of authenticity and emotional intelligence. Leaders who embrace vulnerability demonstrate courage, humility, and a commitment to fostering genuine relationships within their teams. Vulnerability in leadership involves being open about uncertainties, admitting mistakes, and acknowledging that no one has all the answers. This openness humanizes leaders, making them more relatable and approachable. When leaders are willing to show their imperfections and share their challenges, they create an environment where team members feel safe to do the same. This safety is the foundation of trust, which is critical for effective teamwork and organizational success. Employees are more likely to share ideas, voice concerns, and collaborate when they see their leaders model vulnerability. One of the key strengths of vulnerability in leadership is its ability to build stronger connections. When leaders show their authentic selves, they encourage authenticity in others, fostering a sense of community and mutual understanding. This connection goes beyond professional boundaries, creating a sense of belonging and loyalty among team members. Employees who feel connected to their leaders are more engaged, motivated, and committed to achieving shared goals. Vulnerability, in this sense, becomes a bridge that connects individuals on a deeper and more meaningful level. Vulnerability also plays a crucial role in fostering innovation. In a rapidly changing world, leaders must navigate uncertainty and embrace the risks associated with change. By acknowledging the challenges and uncertainties they face, leaders create a culture where experimentation and learning from failure are encouraged. When leaders admit they don't have all the answers, they invite diverse perspectives and ideas, empowering their teams to contribute creatively and collaboratively. This openness to new ideas and willingness to learn from setbacks is essential for driving innovation and adaptability in any organization. Another significant aspect of vulnerability in leadership is the demonstration of humility. Leaders who admit their mistakes or seek help when needed show that they value learning and personal growth over ego or perfection. This humility sets a powerful example for team members, reinforcing the idea that making mistakes is a natural part of the growth process. By embracing vulnerability, leaders create a culture of continuous improvement, where team members are encouraged to take risks, learn from their experiences, and strive for excellence without fear of judgment. Vulnerability in leadership also strengthens emotional intelligence. Leaders who are in touch with their emotions and can express them authentically are better equipped to understand and support the emotions of their team members. This emotional resonance fosters empathy and compassion, enabling leaders to address challenges with sensitivity and build stronger relationships. Vulnerability is a transformative quality that elevates leadership from mere authority to authentic influence. It fosters trust, builds meaningful connections, encourages innovation, and cultivates a culture of learning and collaboration. Far from diminishing a leader's effectiveness, vulnerability enhances it by demonstrating courage, humility, and a commitment to authenticity. Leaders who embrace vulnerability not only inspire their teams, but also pave the way for lasting success and meaningful impact. Embracing vulnerability for growth is a transformative process that allows individuals to move beyond their fears, limitations, and insecurities to unlock their full potential. Vulnerability, often misunderstood as a sign of weakness, is actually a source of profound strength. It is the willingness to confront discomfort, uncertainty, and emotional exposure in order to learn, adapt, and achieve personal and professional growth. By embracing vulnerability, individuals open themselves up to opportunities for deeper self-awareness, authentic connections, and meaningful progress. Growth begins where comfort ends, and vulnerability is the gateway to stepping outside of one's comfort zone. It requires the courage to confront fears and take risks, whether in pursuing a new career path, expressing an unspoken emotion, or trying something entirely unfamiliar. This process often feels uncomfortable and uncertain, but it is precisely in these moments of vulnerability that significant growth occurs. When individuals embrace their fears and take action despite them, they build resilience and confidence, learning more about their capabilities and strengths. One of the key ways vulnerability fosters growth is through self-awareness. By acknowledging their imperfections, struggles, and emotions, individuals develop a deeper understanding of themselves. This awareness enables them to identify areas for improvement, address limiting beliefs, and set meaningful goals. For example, someone who admits their fear of public speaking and decides to work on it not only grows in confidence, but also develops a valuable skill that can open doors to new opportunities. Vulnerability in this context is the catalyst for self-reflection and personal development. Embracing vulnerability also enhances relationships, which are crucial for personal and professional growth. When individuals are willing to share their true selves with others, whether it's admitting a mistake, asking for help, or expressing gratitude, they build trust and deepen connections. These authentic relationships create supportive networks that provide encouragement, feedback, and collaboration, all of which contribute to growth. In professional settings, vulnerability can lead to better teamwork, open communication, and innovative problem solving as people feel safe to share ideas and challenges without fear of judgment. Failure is an inevitable part of growth, and vulnerability teaches individuals to view failure not as a setback, but as a learning opportunity. By embracing vulnerability, people develop the ability to approach failure with curiosity and resilience. Each misstep becomes a chance to gain insights, refine strategies, and try again with greater wisdom. This shift in perspective transforms challenges into stepping stones for success. Vulnerability also helps individuals let go of perfectionism, freeing them from the paralyzing fear of making mistakes and allowing them to focus on progress rather than perfection. On a deeper level, vulnerability fosters emotional and mental well-being, which are essential for sustained growth. When individuals embrace vulnerability, they give themselves permission to feel and process emotions rather than suppress them. This emotional openness reduces stress, increases empathy, and strengthens self-compassion. It also encourages seeking support when needed, which can provide valuable guidance and perspective during difficult times. In embracing vulnerability, individuals find the courage to take bold steps toward their goals, form meaningful connections, and continually evolve. It is through vulnerability that people discover their true potential and create a life that aligns with their values and aspirations. Far from being a hindrance, vulnerability is a powerful tool for unlocking growth and leading a more authentic and fulfilling life. Embracing vulnerability is a transformative journey that requires intentional effort, courage, and self-awareness. It is about stepping into discomfort and embracing uncertainty in order to build deeper connections, foster personal growth, and live authentically. While the process may seem daunting, taking practical steps can make it more approachable and achievable. These steps involve cultivating self-compassion, creating safe spaces for expression, and developing habits that encourage openness and resilience. The first step to embracing vulnerability is practicing self-awareness. This involves acknowledging one's emotions, fears, and insecurities without judgment. Reflecting on situations where vulnerability feels particularly challenging can help identify underlying patterns or beliefs that may be holding you back. For instance, you might notice a fear of rejection or failure that prevents you from taking risks. By recognizing these barriers, you can begin to address and challenge them, creating space for growth. Cultivating self-compassion is another critical step. Being vulnerable means exposing imperfections, mistakes, or fears, which can trigger self-criticism. Developing a compassionate mindset helps counter this by fostering a sense of kindness toward oneself. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or fearing judgment, you can remind yourself that imperfection is a shared human experience. Self-compassion provides the emotional foundation needed to take risks and embrace vulnerability without being paralyzed by fear. Creating safe and supportive environments is essential for practicing vulnerability. Surrounding yourself with people who value authenticity and offer encouragement can make it easier to share your thoughts and feelings. Whether it's a trusted friend, family member, or mentor, identifying individuals who provide a sense of emotional safety allows you to practice vulnerability in a controlled and supportive setting. Over time, these interactions build confidence and prepare you to extend vulnerability into other areas of your life. Start small and take incremental steps toward vulnerability. You don't have to dive headfirst into deeply personal or uncomfortable situations. Begin by sharing something minor but meaningful, such as admitting a small mistake or expressing gratitude to someone. Gradually increasing the depth of your openness helps build confidence and demonstrates that vulnerability is not as intimidating as it may initially seem. These small acts create a foundation for embracing larger challenges over time. Learning to reframe failure and rejection as opportunities for growth is also a key component. Vulnerability often involves stepping into situations where outcomes are uncertain, and the fear of failure can be a significant obstacle. Adopting a mindset that views mistakes as valuable lessons rather than personal shortcomings encourages resilience and persistence. For instance, if you take a risk and it doesn't go as planned, focus on what you've learned and how it can guide you moving forward. Engaging in practices like journaling or mindfulness can help you process emotions and develop a deeper understanding of your experiences. Writing about your fears or reflecting on moments of vulnerability allows you to examine them from a different perspective, reducing their emotional intensity. Mindfulness, on the other hand, teaches you to stay present and accept discomfort without avoidance, fostering a sense of courage and balance. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Acknowledging and rewarding yourself for moments of vulnerability reinforces positive behaviors and builds momentum. Each step you take toward openness and authenticity strengthens your capacity to embrace vulnerability in more significant ways, leading to profound personal and relational growth.